The British royal family is known for its extreme privacy, but secrets have a way of coming out. From serious diseases to crippling depressions, the royal family tried hard to sweep these medical issues under the rug. King George III ruled Britain from 1760 until 1820. It was a particularly tumultuous time in British history that included the loss of the U.S. colonies after America's victory in the Revolutionary War. In addition to that defeat, the monarch's reign was also characterized by a variety of physical ailments and mental illness. In 1788, the king suffered the first of what would ultimately be 4 recurrences of a mysterious malady that brought about an array of seemingly unrelated symptoms. These included unpredictable behavior, abdominal pain, a higher-than-normal metabolic rate, and even delirium. Doctors at the time were flummoxed, and the treatments that his physicians recommended, which included bloodletting and restraining the king in a straitjacket, certainly didn't help. While Buckingham Palace officials tried to keep a lid on it, rumors of George's troubling and bizarre conduct eventually leaked, leading to his reputation as the so-called Mad King. While the precise nature of King George III's illness will never truly be known, theories that have been floated include porphyria and bipolar disorder.
And I concluded that yes, he was ill, but he was not insane.
King George VI was a heavy smoker, which resulted in a number of medical issues in his later years. These included a blocked artery in one of his legs and lung cancer, with a malignant tumor removed from his left lung in 1951. While the late king's lung cancer is commonly acknowledged today, at the time, his doctors kept it a secret, not just from the British public, but also from the king and his family. According to newspaper reports of the time, the king was just fine while recuperating from what was supposedly a successful surgery. King George VI died in his sleep just a few months later, in February 1952 at age 56. At the time, his death was attributed to a heart attack brought about by coronary thrombosis. It's no secret that Princess Margaret, the younger sister of Queen Elizabeth II, didn't exactly have the healthiest lifestyle. Not only was she known to be a heavy drinker, but she was also a lifelong chain smoker who reportedly inhaled a staggering 60 cigarettes a day. During the years leading up to her 2002 death at age 71, she was continually dogged by ill health, including hepatitis and several strokes. While Margaret's late-in-life health woes were eventually made public, her mental health struggles from years earlier were not. Sarah Bradford's 1996 book Elizabeth, a biography of Her Majesty the Queen, alleged that Margaret endured a deep depression during the final years of her tumultuous marriage to Anthony Armstrong Jones. According to the book, the despondent Margaret told a friend that she was going to hurl herself out of her bedroom window. The friend was so concerned that she contacted the Queen. However, the Queen wasn't terribly concerned and informed the friend that Margaret's room was on the ground floor. In his book Elizabeth and Margaret, The Intimate World of the Windsor Sisters, author Andrew Morton alleged that the royals habitually covered up Margaret's issues involving depression. He wrote, "Let's face it, Princess Margaret was a depressed person, and in the royal family you were not allowed to be depressed." There was cause for celebration in 2003 when Prince Edward's wife Sophie delivered the couple's first child, Lady Louise Windsor. What wasn't known at the time, however, was how difficult and life-threatening the birth had been for both mother and newborn. When Sophie went into labor prematurely at just 36 weeks, she experienced an acute placental abruption, which is when the lining of the placenta separates from the uterus. The result was sudden and severe blood loss, with fast-acting doctors rushing to perform an emergency C-section. Due to her extreme loss of blood, Sophie reportedly slipped into a semi-conscious state, reportedly just 15 minutes away from death. Doctors kept her alive with several blood transfusions. Prince Edward immediately returned to London to be by her side, having been away on a royal visit to Mauritius. He was reportedly shocked to learn she and their daughter had been so near to death, something the British public didn't learn until years later. When the world shut down in March 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Britain's royal family was not immune. That month, Prince Charles tested positive for the virus before his son William caught it as well. While Charles publicly acknowledged his bout with the virus, William did not. He explained why he chose to keep his diagnosis a secret during a subsequent public engagement, as reported by The Sun. William reportedly told a patron, "There were important things going on, and I didn't want to worry anyone." Not only was the public not aware that William was ill with the virus, but what also hadn't been made public was the severity of his illness. A source claimed to The Sun, "William was hit pretty hard by the virus. It really knocked him for 6. At one stage, he was struggling to breathe. so obviously everyone around him was pretty panicked. Ultimately, the prince made a full recovery. The following year, he tweeted a photo of himself receiving his first COVID-19 vaccination, clearly intended to encourage others to likewise get vaccinated.
We can wholeheartedly support, having vaccinations. It's really, really important.
In 2019, Prince Philip was involved in a car accident. Palace officials subsequently announced that the prince, at the age of 97, would no longer be driving and had relinquished his driver's license, a rare royal acknowledgement of his advancing age. 2 years later, in February 2021, Philip was hospitalized. According to a BBC report at the time, he had been feeling unwell for a few days. A Buckingham Palace spokesperson insisted that he was only admitted to the hospital simply as a precautionary measure. He wound up remaining in the hospital for 4 weeks, reportedly being treated for an infection and also undergoing a procedure to address a pre-existing condition with his heart. Less than a month later, an official statement announced that the Duke of Edinburgh died at the age of 99. While there was certainly nothing suspicious about an elderly man dying mere weeks before his 100th birthday, it remains a mystery as to whether his hospitalization weeks earlier was in any way connected to his death. Britain's royal family has included no shortage of scandalous figures over the years, yet it's arguable that none of them ever managed to generate a higher degree of controversy than Meghan Markle. After she and husband Prince Harry broke from the royals in 2020 and moved to California, the couple made headlines with their scorched earth, highly rated 2021 interview with Oprah Winfrey. As Markle revealed, the negative press she had been experiencing and the chilly reception from the royals had crushed her, to the point that she contemplated suicide. She told Oprah,
and I just didn't want to be alive anymore.
Even when she was well into her 90s, Queen Elizabeth II was depicted as being fit and healthy for a woman her age. But how much of that common public perception was actually true? That was a question raised in October 2021 when Her Majesty's scheduled royal visit to Northern Ireland was delayed at the last minute. According to a statement from Buckingham Palace, the 95-year-old monarch's doctors had advised her to put off the trip and take it easy. Initially, no reason was given, with the implication being that she was simply feeling a bit run down or possibly under the weather. However, news subsequently emerged that the Queen had actually been hospitalized, despite the earlier statement claiming she was resting at Windsor Castle.
Actually, there's quite a lot of anger here in the UK at the idea that the palace may have intentionally misled the public.
Whatever caused her hospitalization was apparently not too serious. After staying in the hospital overnight to undergo some tests, she returned home the following day. Furthermore, after Elizabeth's death in September 2022, an author claimed to have inside information about the cause of her passing, which was designated as old age on her death certificate. In his book, Elizabeth, An Intimate Portrait, Giles Brandreth claimed he had it on good authority that the Queen had been diagnosed with bone cancer, which had been kept top secret by Buckingham Palace. An anonymous source seemingly backed up Brandreth's claim, telling the Daily Beast, the secret of her failing health was well guarded, but she had actually been very unwell for a lot longer than most people knew. Whether or not the Queen did have bone cancer, however, is a matter of speculation. As Nicki, the Queen's former spokesperson, told Newsweek, Brandreth had been given secondhand information that may not necessarily have been true. In addition to all of the injuries that King Charles III has experienced over the years from polo, including a 2001 fall that left him unconscious, there's another malady he apparently deals with. That is evident in the monarch's hands and his swollen puffy fingers. Charles is not unaware of his digits condition. In the BBC documentary Charles III, The Coronation Year, the king jokingly compared his hands to that of his son Prince William, quipping,
You haven't got sausage fingers like mine.
No.
those self-proclaimed sausage fingers are likely the result of an underlying medical condition, one that has not been divulged to the public. According to British physician Chung Tang, there are several reasons why the king's fingers are so swollen, which is officially named dactylitis. Tang told the Daily Mail, this condition arises due to inflammation and can be a result of arthritis, multiple bacterial infections, or even TB. All of these underlying causes can be treated, but only if it has been determined which is responsible for the enlargement. While the public has yet to learn the cause of the king's swelling, there has been speculation that a renewed focus on his hands has led Charles to hide them in his pockets whenever he's photographed. In January 2024, Princess Catherine was admitted to a London hospital for an abdominal surgery. At the time, her recovery was estimated to take a while, meaning wouldn't be returning to her royal duties until after Easter, nearly 3 months later. 13 days after entering the hospital, she was discharged. As is typically the case with the royals, the precise nature of her surgery was not made known. However, people reported that whatever it was not cancer-related. While the public was surprised by the abrupt news of her surgery, the same held true for Middleton's friends and colleagues. According to People, she had kept all information about the impending surgery to herself, with friends reportedly having no knowledge that she was planning to go under the knife. In addition, even those working on a close basis with the royals were kept in the dark about the surgery. Weeks after Princess Catherine returned home after undergoing surgery, Buckingham Palace had further health-related news to share. According to their statement, King Charles had surgery for an enlarged prostate when doctors identified a form of cancer. Charles was reported to be receiving treatment and was following his doctor's advice to postpone all public activities. He would, however, continue his duties as head of state, including paperwork and his regular weekly meetings with British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. If there was a silver lining, it was that Charles's health scare reportedly thawed his frigid relationship with Prince Harry, who had flown to London from California to visit his ailing father. When asked about the king's prognosis while interviewed by Good Morning America, Harry responded vaguely, to say the least.
That stays between me and him.